when you go into the laboratory, before you perform the experiment, you take the precautions. All I was doing was just stating the precautions that the Electoral Commission must take to ensure that we don't go the path of Côte d'Ivoire. That's what I was doing.
Go ahead.
What are you doing now? Are you withdrawing it or you are not?
Oh, but Mr. Speaker, I withdraw.
Honorable Edward Bauer, you go on. When he comes, I'll get him to also withdraw his behavior. Go on.
Mr. Speaker, I will continue by indicating that there's an example that the EC can learn from. You recall in 2006 when the People's ROPA was passed. You recall that because of the protestation on the streets of Ghana, even though it became law and even the president assented to it, the Electoral Commission was cautious in implementing it because they knew that they needed the full cooperation of all the key players to be able to implement it. My appeal, again, to the Electoral Commissioner is that, no, that we want this country in one piece. That's all I can say. It's not a question, it's a comment.
I expect members, please, Honorable Senior Prefect, I expect members, you know, the body language is even more effective than the words. The body language. When people watch us, because they know we are representing them outside, they don't know the relationship we have built here. I know many of my friends to the left are good friends of those to the right. And you display this outside the chamber. But when in the chamber, you are talking and your fingers are pointing and you are doing this gesticulation, the people outside watching you, they get infuriated. Please, honorability involves a lot of things. You must manage your body language. That is why I want to apologize. No, control yourself first. No, control yourself first. Please. No. Please. It's a plea to you. Don't do that. He didn't ask any question. He was just making a contribution. But he went beyond bounds, but he has withdrawn. He has withdrawn the statement, so I accept that. So there is no question to you. Can we go to Honorable Isaac Adongo?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. One past assurances now. The biggest problem in the room is the NIA. Go and fix NIA as a condition precedent to any conversation on CR. It's as simple as that. But I want to refer the Electoral Commissioner to her own CR 91. Particularly page 24, there's a schedule form 1 that she uses for guarantors. And inbuilt in that is the old system that she describes with the NIA as the robust. I'm surprised that she's not even taking care to look at her own document. And I want to read the oath under it. The Speaker, he says, I solemnly swear or affirm that I know Mr., Mrs., and Mrs. is qualified to register as a voter at the above named registration center. I solemnly swear or affirm that I know that person is qualified to register as a voter at the above named registration center, and should it come to be false, I will bear the consequence.
Thank you.
This is an oath. And for you, the EC to be now praising somebody else using the same method as a means of getting another thing done for you is unbelievable. Please take your time and read your CI before you mess us up. Mr. Speaker, I am surprised that the NIA has been telling us the number of people unregistered from age 15 and above. But the issue we are dealing with is 18 and above. Why have you, up to this point, not told us how many 18 and above you are supposed to register? And how many are outstanding? But you are busy telling us 15 years, 16 years, and 17 years. Mr. Speaker, I also remember that the EC board said that if one ineligible voter enters the register, that is bad enough. I want to remind all of us that even Jesus Christ, when he was selecting his disciples, Judas Iscariot still slipped through. And that it is not possible under the sun, not even the United States of America, would develop 100% free, foolproof register. Please work with what you have. We spent 1 billion already. We are not ready under this mess and the difficulties that we have to spend another penny to put up a new register. Please spare us and deal with the problems that we have. Thank you very much.
So you don't have the 18. But I can put it I was keenly listening to Honorable Isaac Adongo, and then he was quoting from the Bible. I was wondering where it was coming from, because I know he's always against people quoting from the Bible.
I'll pay royalties to the finance minister.
Well, the last from the left is coming from Honorable Cletus Avoka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, is the EC aware that limiting Ghanaians to the national ID card for registration as a voter, coupled with limiting Ghanaians to go to the district capital to register, will lead, the combined effect of these two will lead to people being disenfranchised under Article 42 of the Constitution because of the long distances of some people living 30 to 50 kilometers away from the district capital and not having access easily to the ID card. Wouldn't that amount to disenfranchising a lot of Ghanaians? That's number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, since the opposition to this ID, the registration system, is very populous and overwhelming, coupled with the discontent, the frustration, and the suffering in the country, won't the EC give a listening ear to each Ghanaians, population of Ghanaians who are complaining, and do the needful by making sure that the guarantor system coexists with the card system so that there will be peace and harmony in the country? Thank you.
Well, as you all know, he was my former colleague. The three wise men, he was one of them. So he has asked very serious two questions bordering on law. Yes, we'll now go to the right, and we'll start with Honorable Osei Nyapo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the EC chair if it is true that the Ghana card will be used to vote in 2024. That's the first one. The second question is, Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the EC chair if the EC is going to compile a new register for the 2024 election. That's two questions. I want to find out from the EC chair, Mr. Speaker, from her presentation. He said the continuous registration by using the Ghana card is going to save this country some huge sums of amount. I want to find out if she will be able to give an indicative numbers, the cost, the amount of money or figures that this country is going to save. Last one, I want to find out from the EC if he has any plans of creating additional constituency, and if not to, we should explain to the people of Ghana. Thank you.
Honorable Dan Botry. Honorable Dan Botry.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I've heard of a new register. And the chairperson of the Electoral Commission confirmed that all the registered voters in the current register 2020, which they skillfully and efficiently compiled in the 2020 elections, will have people of those 70 million plus registered voters remain valid registered voters in the country. Honorable Speaker, the Electoral Commission, they have conducted limited registration exercises. When they do conduct limited registration exercises, do they conduct limited registration exercises at polling stations? Is that what they have been doing? Thank you.
Honorable Samuel Abu Jinapo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Regulation 71J of 2012, the National Identity Register Regulation, Mr. Speaker, and Article 45A and E of our national constitution, Mr. Speaker, the combined effect of these two provisions vests the mandate in the Electoral Commission in what they seek to do. Mr. Speaker, if you permit me, you will recall that in 1992, when the Electoral Commission sought to introduce transparent ballot boxes, a section of the Ghanaian population opposed it. Mr. Speaker, in 1996, when the Electoral Commission sought to introduce photo ID, a section of the population opposed it again. Mr. Speaker, in 2012, when the Electoral Commission sought to introduce biometric registration, a section of the population opposed it again. Mr. Speaker, in 2020, when the Electoral Commission sought to compile a new register, a section of the population took it to the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, we all attest to the fact that these various interventions have helped to enhance transparency in our elections. Mr. Speaker, clearly there is another opposition from a section of the Ghanaian population. So my question is, Mr. Speaker, on this occasion, what measures will the chairperson of the Electoral Commission take to give confidence to our friends who seem to have opposed all the interventions to improve transparency in our elections? Mr. Speaker, my second question, that West African citizens register and get on the electoral roll of our country. There is absolutely no doubt about that. I think there's a sense of unanimity that West African nationals get on the electoral roll. So, Speaker, to what extent, to the Electoral Commissioner, to what extent will the
Ghana Foundation Health Fest initiative offers periodic health screening exercises for rural and urban communities across the country. With the aid of qualified medical doctors and nurses, Health Fest provides free medical screening, consultation, and medication for citizens across the country. This initiative is further complemented by Ultrasound Scan Project, which is conducted every other month across rural communities. Vodafone Homecoming Nationwide Hospital Bill Settlement Initiative. Vodafone Homecoming is another benevolent initiative championed by Vodafone Ghana Foundation. Here, the foundation pays the medical bills of insolvent patients who are unable to go home due to these unpaid bills. The foundation settles these bills for treated patients across the country and goes further to reunite the beneficiaries with their families, connecting for good.
So the NIA's inability to distribute cards is an issue of money. We have been assured this evening by the Minister for Finance the steps we will take.
The service provider of the National Identification Authority, $117 million. If you express it at 13 cities, even 14 cities, 1.4 billion Ghana cedis. At 12 cities, 1.4 billion cedis. Granted 100 million. So if you paid 100 million out of 1.4 billion, we still have an outstanding of 1.3 billion cedis. 1.3 billion cedis. The assurances that the minister has given to me is not good enough. Mr. Speaker, for me to be convinced and support the passage of a CI that seeks to make the national identification card as the sole identification for registration. And my position is simple. Until that is done, and all of us can bear their testimony, and there's evidence, and an independent validation has been done, we cannot be able to support that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've heard the minority leader again. Minority leader is aware that Carl Bank is the contractor that we have negotiated with. As long as Carl Bank is satisfied with the basic has control of the cards. Carl Bank has agreed to the payment terms. Seize the cards as long as we follow the payment terms. So what other assurance do we need if the person who is in possession of that's a very different issue, you know?
Honourable members, I think we have come to the end of the consultation. As I stated, consultations, and that is with Parliament. Honorable members, so we've come to the end of the consultation of the three institutions of Parliament. The Committee of the Whole will submit a report on this consultation to plenary session. Definitely, I'll be signing the report as the chair of this meeting. I'm sure you will not be compelling me to do it within a day, because that will not be possible. But my secretariat will work assiduously at it, and as soon as possible, we will submit the report to plenary. The procedure is not going to be anything new. And so I want to, on your behalf, thank the August personalities we invited here, the Minister for Finance, and our own, the Deputy Minister, for responding to our invitation. I also want, on your behalf, to thank the chairperson of the Electoral Commission and the deputy, together with the technical staff, and the last but not the least, the executive secretary. Not all of us are satisfied with the explanation. That definitely is part of democracy. So we'll go on, we'll submit the report, and you definitely hear from us. Honorable members, with this, I want to, Majority Leader, anything?
Mr. Speaker, I know we have to recline to plenary for you to take an adjournment. But before you bring the curtain down, time value. Where we are now, about 7:45, it will not be possible to generate the report tomorrow for you to go through, for it to be late. So certainly tomorrow will be out. My prayer is that the report will be submitted to this House by Thursday. After this, by Thursday, in order for us to move forward. It's pre-laying consultation.
Everything know why? Everything know.
So that is it. It's just a prayer.
Is that how you are?
Practically, it will be difficult to do it tomorrow. But I guess that we should possible, given the fact that time is of the essence for the CI. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, overspeeding can kill. The Chief Executive Officer of the NIA has made it clear here that there is an information constituency-specific data that he's going to provide to this House. If you are saying that a report to be generated that he's going to provide to this House. If you are saying that a report to be generated tomorrow, how are you going to get it? Put that one aside. Mr. Speaker, he said by Thursday. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. If he brings that report, constituency-specific data, by Wednesday or by Thursday,
I have to take it to my constituency.
On the weekends, members complain, and that is why, Mr. Speaker, I was agitating to speak, even though I didn't get the opportunity. Members' complaint is that
they go to their constituency offices, and some are denied of the information. Those who are giving, if they cross-check with the one that is giving here, there are great disparities. Because of those discrepancies and disparities, Mr. Speaker, we should not overspeed in this. And that is why we are engaging. Mr. Speaker, we know that in September, the Electoral Commission is going to organize assemblyman elections in September. So we should not be thinking that, oh, this is time-bound and this is and this is this. If, leader, you are saying there is time-bound and she has to work to be within time, she can be using CI 91. Why we organize ourselves well. Mr. Speaker, I started by saying that we are representing people. We need to take input from Institute of Economic Affairs, where Madame Jemesa used to be. We need to take input from CDD. We need overspeed thinking that we just have to generate report, come and lay CI and start registration. No, leader. Even the payment plan that the minority leader is requesting the Minister for Finance to provide, that payment plan must be brought here. Mr. Speaker, even the National Democratic Congress, NDC, that was not invited to the IPAC meeting that drafted this CI, must be invited. So we cannot overspeed in
Mr. Speaker, I have come through our rules book, and I was looking for the orders on pre-laying. After listening to the minority leader, he said that they won't be part of the process of laying of the seer and that they are opposed. Mr. Speaker, I would want to draw the attention of the minority leader and his group on Order 166. To page 110. That is where the order is. 166. Mr. Speaker, there is a committee.
subsidiary.
There is a committee in charge of this process. But as a house, we have by convention adopted this pre-laying practice to enable us both consensus. Mr. Speaker, that is not to take away the functions and the mandate of the committee. And Honorable Ayeni, who is part of the committee and is in leadership of the committee, knows about what I'm talking about. You on your feet, I sat down, let me finish. This is the impatience you are giving. Sit down, sit down. When you shout, your backbenchers follow your bad example. Mr. Speaker, this is the rule. Mr. Speaker, when one man speaks, 1,000 men are crying. Why? Mr. Speaker, I read Order 166. There shall be a committee on subsidiary legislation, which shall consist of not more than 25 members. If you keep quiet, we can all learn. So keep quiet. If you keep quiet and you listen, you can make a meaningful input. If you disagree with me, catch Mr. Speaker's attention. Opinion of Blanca. The means of catching his eye is to shout. At least pass on a note to Mr. Speaker. He will listen to you. Mr. Speaker, if you read Order 1661,
Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, resume your seat.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
That we should, as much as possible, submit the report by Thursday. That is a prayer from him. I pray that God will answer his prayer. That we have developed all these things. And practice is a key part of our procedure. And so we'll work on that, and you hear from us. With this, I want to plead with all of you to at least calm your nerves, have cool heads. At the end of the day, we are all looking for the good of Mother Ghana. And we will all try to do what is right for Ghanaians. So please, for the good of...
Right, so it's been an eventful day in the House of the Legislature for officials of the Electoral Commission, the National Identification Authority, the Finance Ministry, and the members of Parliament at large on the back of this new CI which has been proposed by the Electoral Commission. 8 p.m. My name is Kwekwe Diamansa. Many thanks for watching.